Chicken pot pie really makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Hi everyone, I'm Karen Ahmed. Welcome back to Cravings with Adventures. I really hope you enjoy a really good comfort food because chicken pot pie really hits the spot. Now my son loves this and he's been bugging me for weeks to make this for him. Now even though I already have a recipe on my channel, I decided to make a new and improved version of this dish. A couple of years ago, I attended George Brown Culinary College to do a course on the introduction to cooking. And I learned a lot of really neat tips and tricks that I'm going to incorporate into making this chicken pot pie really easy. Now the flavor in this is amazing. It's packed with delicious ingredients like paprika and sun-dried tomatoes and vegetables together with the chicken, and it's folded together in a delicious velouté. Now I make this chicken pot pie and I make my pie dough from scratch, but you can easily just go out there and buy store-bought pie dough. Or if you want to try something different, you can also use a puff pastry dough. Now this will give your chicken pot pie a really different texture. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I upload new videos every week. So make sure that you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. Now, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is grate a stick of cold butter, and it's important that the butter is really cold. Jesus, wrapper is stubborn. I'm going to keep grating till I finish the entire stick, and then I'm just going to leave it aside for a minute. I'm going to sift some all-purpose flour. This is about 10 ounces and that's roughly about 283 grams. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and then all of that grated butter right into the flour. Now I'm going to work this dough to create a crumbly, straggly mixture. Now this step is really important to incorporate the butter, so just take your time. This rhythmic motion is really quite therapeutic. I'm just going to keep working this butter till I know that all of the butter has really incorporated together with that flour. Next, I'm going to add water, cold water. I've got 120 ml of cold water and I'm going to add this all at the same time. Now in many recipes they tell you to add the water slowly, but at this culinary college that I went to, I was taught to add this all at the same time so you don't overwork the dough. I'm just going to knead this till it comes together. I'm going to cover this and leave it aside to rest for about 30 minutes, and in the meantime, I'm going to work on the filling. I'm going to add some oil to my hot saute pan, and the first thing I'm going to saute are a half cup of diced onions. I'm just going to let these sweat. I've got one chicken breast here. This is roughly a cup of chicken breast that I've cubed, and I'm going to saute this well. Now I'm going to add some flavor. Let's add 1 teaspoon of cumin powder, and I'm going to follow this with 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. I'm also going to add some salt. We want major flavor in this chicken. And I'm just going to cook this till I get some color on the chicken. Now I'm not looking to fully cook the chicken, but I want to know that it's at least halfway done. Now my son is not crazy about mushrooms, but I really do think it lends an incredible flavor to this dish. So I'm going to add a cup of sliced mushrooms. Now these are just regular mushrooms, but you can add fancier ones if you like. I've literally just sliced 2 cloves of garlic and I'm going to throw that in. I'm just going to add a little bit more oil because it looks like it's drying up. Now let's cook this for a few minutes. Next, I'm going to add some veggies in. I've got a half cup of celery, and I'm going to follow this with a half cup of diced carrots. I'm also going to add 2 teaspoons of chopped sun-dried tomatoes. Now this is really going to make this flavor really interesting. I'm using just regular sun-dried tomatoes. This is the kind that you get bottled, and this is one of the staples in my pantry. Next, I'm going to add a half cup of water, and I'm going to cover it just to allow the veggies to steam for a few minutes. Now let's see how this is looking. Pretty good. I'm just going to take everything out and leave it aside to cool. Now let me get rid of some of these ingredients, and in the same pot, and I love one pot dishes, it just makes cleanup so much easier. I'm just going to heat this saute pan up, and I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of butter. Now as this butter is melting, it's actually picking up all of that paprika and cumin and all of those other flavors. I've also got 4 tablespoons of flour, and I'm going to add this in using a whisk. I'm just going to whisk it together 1 tablespoon at a time, and this is what is forming a roux. I've also heated up 2 cups of chicken stock. Now you can use homemade or store-bought, whatever you have. I'm just going to add this in a little bit at a time. Now don't worry, it always looks like it's a disaster at first, but trust me, it always smooths itself out. Just keep whisking after each addition. This is a really good arm workout, and when I get tired, I just switch arms. Add salt to taste, but if you're using store-bought stock, you may need to taste it because most of the store-bought stock already contains a lot of sodium. So be very careful. Now adding stock to a roux is called a velouté, and this is really now as creamy as it can be. All I have to do now is fold in the veggies and the chicken. This is almost perfect. But I'm just going to add a 1/4 cup of cream, and that's going to make everything so much better. I'm also going to add 1 to 2 teaspoons of finely chopped parsley. The dough is now well rested, and it's time to roll it out. Now I want my pastry to overhang my ramekin. Since my cookie cutter is really too small, I'm just going to use a bowl and a knife to cut out the circles. Now please note that this dough can be re-rolled, and you should get about 6 circles comfortably. Now once I've got my 4 circles cut out, I'm just going to use a flower cookie cutter, and I'm going to cut out some flowers as well. Now this can be used as a decoration later. You can either make individual pot pies like I'm making, or go family style. I prefer to use individual ramekins. I'm going to fill up my ramekins. They are a decent size, although one is never enough for my son. And you should have enough filling for about 6 ramekins. I'm going to try and fill this very carefully. It's a lot harder to do at this awkward camera angle. I filled in the first 4, and I'm just going to add a little bit extra, especially since my son has been waiting so long for this. Now I'm just going to clean up my ramekin just a little bit and brush the lip of the ramekin with butter. Now if you brush it with butter, this is where it comes in contact with the pie dough, and it'll be easy to take it out and it won't stick to the ramekin. Now very carefully, I'm going to lay the pie dough circle over the ramekin. And like dough always does, it contracts a little bit because of the gluten. I'm just going to stretch it out with my fingers, and using my thumb and index finger of both hands, I'm going to crimp this all the way till the dough is nice and secure. Brush the top of the dough with some beaten egg. Now this is going to give the dough a beautiful golden hue after it's baked. I'm going to pinch the petals of my flower to give it some life, and I'm going to add it to the middle. Now look how gorgeous that looks. With a knife, I'm going to make some perforations all the way around, and this is going to allow the steam to escape while it's baking. I'm going to finish off the rest of them, and later on I will prepare some more ramekins with the rest of the filling and the dough. This batch is now ready for a preheated 350-degree oven, and it's going to cook for about 20 to 30 minutes till the tops are nice and golden brown. Once they're done, I'm going to remove it out of the oven. I'm going to allow it to cool and let the comfort food begin. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe for chicken pot pie. It's so delicious, creamy. It's loaded with little chunks of chicken and vegetables like mushrooms and carrots and celery, and it's flavored with sun-dried tomatoes and so many other delicious things. Thank you so much for joining me on Cravings with Adventures. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I have some amazing recipes coming up, so you really don't want to miss out on them. Hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I upload a new video. And also, follow me on all of my social channels. There's so much going on those social channels. I have live chats and live videos, so make sure that you're there. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, and even Snapchat. Until I see you next time, take care, guys. Bye. Damn it.